This conference will now be recorded.
So then we also try to implement some programs continuously. That also will do. We have done so far the same thing. So what is the function actually? You tell me, folks. What is function? Why do we need functions? It's a just simple, a small piece of program. It's a subprogram which performs some specific task. Is it? That's what we have discussed in the last class. And what else we have discussed? Functions performs something like repetitive task. Once you write a code in function and keep it, develop it and keep it, and you can call it any number of times. It acts as a module, best for modularization. We have discussed this in the last class. That's the point. It is used to implement some business logic or any kind of logic, if not business, because functions can be used in different ways. Actually, technically speaking, functions are used to implement business logic. Okay, so that is one thing. Let me open this. 1 minute, folks. Okay, now we are ready. And we have discussed about two types of functions, right, in the last class. Okay, this is what we started in the last session. We had done some few programs for default functions and parameterized. We started discussing parameterized, and I asked you to solve some programs. So if you remember, we have done some examples like this. Some sum of two numbers. Okay, parameterized means a function with parameters, and one thing in Python is implementing functions is so easy because you don't have any data types. When you define a function, you just need to define like this. This def keyword has to be there. So start with def, then function name, and then you have to put parameters. And for this parameters, nothing. You can put any variable name. You don't need to worry about data type or anything. And based on the data you pass internally, it will decide what type of variable it is.
Are
One
you
more thing.
sharing something, Manohar?
Pardon?
We are not able to
Sharing
see
any
you.
screen? We are not able to see your screen.
Okay, okay. Sorry. Sorry,
Oh,
I didn't share the screen.
okay.
That's correct. Thanks for reminding me. Okay, fine. Now I think it's visible, right? Can you see this?
Yeah. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Now we have two types of functions, parameterized and default. What is a default function? A function without parameters. We had discussed this in the last class. I have uploaded in the YouTube. If anybody has missed this session, okay. Default means you don't have parameters here. Like we can take this itself. If you declare variables like this with function name inside the brackets, if you declare variables, it is parameterized. If you don't put any variables in this parenthesis, this one, if you remove them, it becomes default. And difference is which functions are are needed. Both are needed. But actually, if you want to pass values from one function to another function, you must and should need this. This one is necessary for this. The second one. If you want to implement some parameter passing, then what do you need? definitely you need this second function. So that is a parameterized function. That is one thing. Okay. And also function returns values in all languages, not just Python. Okay, you can see here. Even Python returns values, but that is optional. Using return statement is optional. And you can just simply put return here. If you are not returning any value, you can just put return and leave it also. Even if you don't put return, nothing happens. Okay, just an idea. Return. I will talk about how to return a value also in today's session. Okay. So now in the last class, I had discussed about a couple of examples like area of triangle, area of circle, even or not, and we have discussed many examples in the last class. Okay. So from that we'll see few examples how to write a function and how to return the value by passing parameters. We'll take one example for that. Did we do parameter passing in the last session, gentlemen? The screen is already shared, Kotish. Still, anybody has issue in seeing the screen? All of you are able to see the screen, Vera and hello. Can you see the screen? Am I? So you don't have anything else, right? Okay.
Okay.
Then yeah, then it's fine. I think there should be network issue from your side, my dear friend. Usually, when you have network or if some connection issues, the coding that should be the problem. I hope. Please check once, okay?
Okay, okay. I will check once and I will connect again.
Otherwise, you reconnect it one more time. Your problem will be solved, okay?
Okay.
So now I was talking. Why do we need parameter passing? Parameterized functions. Usually they are used to implement parameter passing, and that is one of the very good practice in programming. And we have discussed the parameter function, but how to return value, we'll see one example. Let's start doing it. To return value, we use this return statement. Okay. And the syntax look like this. It's so simple here. There is nothing difficult here. Okay. Simple. Some return space, some var name. Just variable name. If you want to return if you want to return a value instead of variable, so this is like this is like example return x, and there is another way we can return a constant also directly, return some 10. Suppose if you ask me, sir, I will return multiple values, is it possible? Don't use two n's here, it's a typo. Then you can also return multiple values in Python, not just one value. Return x comma y comma z. Suppose in other languages, if you try to return multiple values from a function, it leads to compilation error. You go to C, you go to C++, you go to Java, you go to C#. You try there, try to return multiple values from a function, get an error. But in Python, it's not like that. You can return more than one value from a function. See, that's how Python is. Following, right? Python is like that, folks. We can return multiple values. We'll see examples. One example, how to return just a value. Another example, how to return multiple values from a function. Can we see two examples now? Fine. I think you got idea about function syntax and default function, parameterized function. All of you are good, right? Please confirm me, yes or no, so that get an idea. We had discussed this in the last but one session week, okay? Because last week I couldn't take session due to some personal work. Remember, right? You remember, right?
Hi, is there any we can return any data type, right? In return,
Yes, yes, you can return anything.
any
Who
data
is
type. I mean,
yeah, who is that Rama?
Ramakrishna. Yeah. We have two
Yeah.
Rams here actually.
Oh, two Rams. I spoke with one Ram. I
Yeah,
don't
this
know
is
about.
another one. Yeah.
Okay, Ram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I am the new to this session. Actually, I started today only.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
no issues, Ram. Not an issue.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, please mute it. You can go through the the previous sessions. You get some idea there, but you can return any type of data. It's not just only some specific data because it depends on your necessity, Ram. That's all. It's not like in learning phase or at learning stage we can return whatever we want, but in a project or a real work, we return something which is really necessary. Okay, what is it required, we return it. What is not required, we don't. That's how we create applications. But anyhow, let's see small examples now. Now write a program, right or no? Write a program to find sum of two numbers and return the result. Try this example. Already I had discussed function, right? Return the result to caller. Try this code. We'll do one more example after this. Returning multiple values. You remember functions, right? Just try it. I'll give 1 minute for you, then I'll come and show you how to do it. I will explain in the process of doing code. Again, I will show you how to declare function and how to pass parameters, how to call it. Quickly, I will recap it so that if anybody missed it, you can get some quick idea. Okay, I'm doing this, guys. Let me just show you. Let me show you guys how to do this. Okay, it's a simple program. It's not complicated actually. It's a very basic program. If you are regularly attending our sessions, for you this is nothing. Okay, anyhow, I'll show you. See here, just take a new notepad, a new file for in this idle. Okay, save it as something like fun. Just saving it as fun.py. Okay, okay, I'm saying here. That's fine. First thing is declare. You need to find what is the requirement. Sum of two numbers. Even comments can be used for giving some explanations, description. You know very well, right? You can use comments like that. Recently, I got a requirement from one company. I'm just trying to make you understand. The requirement is they wants to train the employees in their company how to implement standards in coding. That is a requirement. So when you are a developer, you have to learn even how to apply standards. Even in our project, I see, there are different ways of writing code. Sometimes we miss standards. Because of that, it leads to some issues for us. So describe something like this. I'm telling you clearly. Next one. The function anyhow starts with def and sum. We are asking sum of two numbers. We need two parameters. Anyway, anything of your choice. Yes, you don't have braces here. You have to do the blocks. You have to implement blocks in Python through indentation. Okay, just keep colon. Under that, write the logic. Some c equal to a plus b, and you can say return c. It's a simple, very simple code, sir. There is nothing difficult in Python. Then after that, what you have to do, sir? Now you have to call this function. Once you write it, I am done. This is a very basic function. You have to just define def keyword, then some function name, and then inside parameters, then your logic inside, and then just return it. Now call this function. You know how to call it, right? You call a function by using a function caller like this. What is the caller? Sum. That's all. Then here you have to pass some value, something like 10, 20. So this is called caller. You know very well. I had discussed this in the last session. And this is a called function. Whenever you declare a function must be called, then only it gets executed. Otherwise, function is not executed by itself. Okay. Caller make a call to a function. So when you call this function is called from here. When this caller is executed, the control jumps to this point. And at the same time, the values from caller are passed to this parameters. 10 is copied to A, 20 is copied to B. Then you find sum of this and you return it. When you return a value, then your color has to be assigned to some variable like this. The result has to be assigned to some resultant variable. That is very important. Whenever you pass parameters to a caller, automatically it will go to the function, execute the code, then it will get back the result. That result you have to assign to some variable in the calling part. Okay, you got it right. So now what do you do now? Just print it, something like print of x. You just simply say the sum is. Sir, if anybody has questions or doubts, please ask me, and don't listen, without having a clear idea. Because if you want to implement something, having clear understanding about syntax and fundamental is very important. You got 30 over. You can input these two values, this even 10 and 20 from keyboard. Okay, you can use input function, read two variables, like if you want to do it in your college, because I see everybody is working here. College thing is not something no necessary for us, okay? But still, I'm just trying to tell you. But the point is simple. If you want, you can input dynamically. You can take input function, apply casting, to integer, and then pass those variables to this caller. That's all. That is fine. Okay, you got it right. This is idea about parameterized function with the returning a value. Another program, write a program. How to pass multiple values from a function. Just try this program. Write a program to find sum of two numbers, subtraction, multiplication, just an idea, that's all. Up to multiplication, if you want, you can do all the arithmetic operations and return all the results in one written statement. Don't use multiple returns. I don't think we can use multiple. One written in one written statement, you can return all the values in Python. Okay. Because once you say return, immediately control is returned back from called function to caller. So keeping multiple returns is not a good idea. But with one return, we can pass all the values in Python. Test that scenario. I'm giving you this program. You can try this. Okay. Please test this. If you want, you can apply remaining arithmetic operations as well. That's up to you. Finished it. Excuse me. Okay, take just a half minute, then I will implement. This is simple program. One more small announcement. I started big data sessions. If anybody is interested in big data, please ping me, but not free sessions, of course. But it's like a job oriented program, end to end solution in big data. So that if anybody wants any, implement it in deeper approaches, then you can ping me, you can contact me. Anybody wants to learn big data. Now, I am just showing you this, how to implement this. Hope you are ready for this. Same program, I'm modifying for multiple operations. Okay. I just say C equal to A plus B, A and B equal to A minus B. Two variables are enough, nothing to worry. E equal to A into B, something like this. Then I say C comma D comma E. We have already done collections, right? You remember? Did we finish collections, right? Yes or no? Will you agree? Again, I will bring back that somewhere again. I'll make you to work couple of assignments on collections again one more time, sometime in this time, in these times. Okay, not today. What I mean is, so this is how you return multiple values. Don't try this in other languages. It won't work actually, because in other languages we can return one value at a time. If you ask me, sir, how can I return multiple values in Java, sir, or in C Sharp, sir? Then you have to assign all your values to an array, and you can return that array, or assign all your resultant values to some object, and you can return that object. That's how you can do in traditional Java or C Sharp languages, or even C and C++. Okay, now I'm printing X. Let's see what happens, sir. I don't need to change anything. I'm returning multiple values. All the results are written to this X. It is initialized to X. Then if I print X, you can find all the results there. But what is this X now? Is it a scalar this time, or is it a vector? Because you are returning multiple values. By default, this kind of declaration, I told you somewhere in your Python sessions, to declare like this is what, gentlemen? When you try to declare or initialize multiple values to one variable, it becomes what? I told you this. You remember? It becomes what, folks? It becomes a tuple. That is the default data structure your Python uses. Whenever you try to initialize multiple values to one variable, it's not allowed in other languages. But in Python, if you try to do that, it becomes tuple. You understand that? Yes, folks. Okay, let me just try this. Okay. Can you see there? It's a tuple. Suppose I want to no, I want to get it each value from the tuple. How can I get it? We can iterate it and extract it. Okay, or you can get through index also because these are all indexed data structures. Tuple, list, bytes, byte array, all that are indexed actually. Okay, how shall I get this extract this values from this tuple? It's simply you can apply this looping. Okay, what the looping look like this for I in x colon print of I, something like this. And you can also extract based on what based on index also because this is an index data structure. So this is the idea how to return multiple values from a function, folks. Okay, I think I gave you a clear idea. Got it right? All of you are good, sir. Very good, sir. Am I audible, right? Please give me yes or no so that we can switch to the next topic. Or if you want me to give more detailing on this, we can discuss
Yes, sir.
further. Thank you, Vinod. Okay, I'm switching to the next discussion because there is a lot of this thing on this. It's a big topic, functions here. Okay, I think we have done this in the last session. One more requirement for you, if you are so in this program, we find division by applying percentile, folks. This is actually a challenging program. If you want, you can try after class. You have to find division, same program, without applying percentile. Percentile, don't use percentile. There are 17 people in this session, or it might be 16 or 15 also. What I suggest is any one of you try without percentile, right? And because it's a challenging program actually. This is one of the you know one of the project which is given for a job oriented this thing to one of our student. He is also there in our class right now. Naveen, you try this without percentile. Try a division without percentile. See, not now because again I cannot spend more time on this. We have already done. Required, I will explore it and then I will get back to you again in next class. This is the idea about functions. So far I had discussed what is a function and default function and parameterized function. Okay, I had discussed all this and then returning value and then how to return multiple values. Yeah, this is very easy here in Python. It's not like in traditional languages. You have to just use def keyword, define keyword, and then just function name and parameters. Even you don't have data types here, so that it's more easy for us to implement functions than in other languages. Now we know we are discussing parameterized functions, like how to pass parameters. We have just discussed a couple of examples, but the point is that again, these parameters are of four types. And you call them as positional parameters or arguments and keyed parameters, default parameters, variable length parameters. These are simple only. There's nothing difficulty here. There is no complexity here. It's very simple. I just quickly explain this. Positioning in the sense order is mandatory. Right now, what are the variables we are using? just function name. Inside that you declare parameters right there. They are positional parameters. And you have to take care of order. That is very important. If you don't take care of order, it leads to some kind of complications in Python. Suppose it is something like this. I'll just show you a small example. You are giving some meaningful names here. Quick idea for you, okay? You can also add more comments because as we are just going through the learning phase, I'm not adding much comments. But in one session, might be I can give you clear this thing how to define standard implementation for programming. Okay. So here I'm just doing a simple function, positional parameters. Excuse me, guys. Positional. Okay. Right. I'm taking a small examples in def some I'll take it as a person. Okay. My function name is person. Then name comma age. Print name comma age. Okay. Like this. And then that's all. You don't need to return anything. And then call this. Just simply say person of name I am giving as Manohar and age is some 37. Okay. So I'm passing based on this order of parameters. I assume first one is a string, second one is an integer, so I'm passing like this. Can you see this now? Suppose I run this now. Let me run it. I got perfect output. And the problem with Python is as you don't have a data type to a variable, you can pass any type of value. Name might be I declare it as name, but to name I can pass integer value, I can pass boolean value, I can pass string value, I can pass decimal value. A variable in Python can store anything as it is not typed variable. These are all dynamic variables which they hold any type of data. Then suppose you see now, this same program, I interchange the parameters here in the column. Can you see? Now 37 is passed to name and Mano, this string is passed to age. You are following this, right? Means this is actually not meaningful. This is not meaningful. It is meaningless. Are you following? Why it is not meaningful? Because I should pass some string to name and some integer to age, but it's not happening. So this is what problem with positional parameters. You have to look at the order of passing parameters when you are using positional parameters. Following, guys. So if I run this, see the output. I get 37 and 1. But the purpose of declaring function is name is for to hold name, age is for to hold age. Maybe by mistake I have interchanged and passed it. Still Python variables accept it. They don't know anything. Whatever you give it, they will take it. Because they are not typed variables. Suppose in Java, I might put a data type like this. What is that? Some string space name, comma, some int space age. If it is Java, I am telling, or if it is Python, I'm sorry, if it is C#. Now you should pass only string to first variable and into to second variable. If you alter the order here, it won't work. You get compilation error in Java or other languages because they are typed. But as Python don't have that, you have to take care of that. The order thing you should take care of. Clear, right? Just so that's it. And that is what the point of position order is mandatory for positional parameters. If you interchange, what happens? I have clearly shown you exactly. Okay, you can test it yourself, not a difficult thing. Okay, I have just shown example. We don't need many more for this. Point is, you have to take care of the order. Okay, what is that? You must take care of what? Order flows. That's it. Next one. That's the idea about positional parameters here. Already I had discussed here. So I need to correct this code. So what should I do again? I have to say so this is correct order. Okay, clear, right? Then the next topic goes is the next topic is argumented. I think keyed parameters. 1 minute, guys. Next one, keyed parameters. What do you mean by a keyed parameter? To avoid this confusion with positional parameters, like the ambiguity issues. Suppose if I pass for name an integer value and for age a string value, what's happening? The data is not passed in a meaningful way. It will completely disturb the flow. So that's why what is that done? The keyed parameters are used. Now let us see. Same example, if you see, I have variables like this. Might be function name had been changed here. Instead of person, we have emp underscore f1. Keyed in sense nothing. While passing parameters in color, you can see the color here. In this color, while passing parameters, you also mentioned to which variable you should pass this value Vidatri. I am saying that pass name to Vidatri to name and one to each. Means it's like this positional. I mean, our keyed parameters are like this. Now, I don't want to confuse myself. Then I go for keyed parameters. What do I do then here? I say something like a name equal to something and age equal to something. This is also allowed in Python. This kind of coding style is allowed in Python. This is called keyed parameters. What do you call them? Keyed, K-E-Y-E-D. Now you run this, run it. Okay. You change the order now. This time you pass age equal to 37, comma, name equal to something like this. Okay. Now you run this program. This time if you see, there's a clear change in the order of passing parameters, but still I am using keyed parameters. Okay, let me run this. Okay, there is a small something is come. You can see this, right? So now it run this. Run this now. You got same output, right? You get proper output. There is no change in the output this time because your parameters are what, folks? Your parameters are keyed parameters. What parameters? Keyed, K-E-Y-E-D. Got it right? So that's it. Next one. Understood? Got clarity, all of you? Just test it once, that's all. Nothing. These are all just concepts, okay? All of you are good. Just type in the chat box, yes or no, sir. Good, bad, ugly, just tell me your, give me your feedback, sir. Are you good now on keyed parameters? Okay, that's fine. Next one. After that is default parameters. You can check remaining use cases. These are there clearly explained. They are self-explanatory things. Okay, you can just go through other examples as well. And one more thing here, this is important point. We can have combinations. If you ask me, sir, first time we used positional parameters. After that, we used keyed parameters. Can we combine positional and keyed parameters, sir? Yes, it's possible. So, but point is, if you are combining, if you are using a combination of positional arguments and keyed arguments, always positional arguments should come before keyed arguments. You understand this point? Means like this. So, okay, this is these are both are keyed. This time you see this is positional, this is keyed parameter. Point is, first you should pass positional and then you pass keyed parameter. See here. If you try this way, this is one. Do you think this is legal or illegal? First keyed parameter is coming. After that, positional is coming. This leads to error. Check this. You can check the small examples. If you write this piece of code and test it yourself, sir, like this. You can try all the possible possibilities now. Check all these possibilities which are allowed, which are not allowed. And last one. I put a key like this and I put a positional like this. You try this once. Check and just tell me, sir, which are working among these four, which are not working. And this is the thumb rule. Whenever you are having mixture of both positional and keyed parameters. Okay, you try this and tell me, sir. Take a minute and test it, sir. Take it, no problem. We are not in a hurry. Nothing. We'll slowly understand and implement things. Did you finish this testing? Hope you have finished testing, right? For this, which are working, which are not working? Tell me, sir. Shall we just quickly test here? Suppose the first one, order anything is your choice, sir. Okay. So I'm just taking a small thing. Something like Mano, comma, age equal to 20. That is first thing. Okay, run this now. Will it work or not? Yes, it's working. Next one. First keyed parameter and then positional. Positional in sense regular parameters, sir. Nothing to confuse. Can you see this? The syntax error is clearly saying that positional argument follows keyed argument. Means you are not following the rule. That's what it is saying. Understood, sir? Because you know the rule, right? Always positional parameter must come first and then keyed parameters has to come later. Can you observe this? Probably in this document, this will fail. Even this should also fail, right? Next one. After that, the next topic is again variable length argument. Sorry, default parameters. Then we'll go to what is default. It's simple, sir. Default parameters means I'll just explain directly with code here. See here carefully. Default in sense, suppose I am doing sum of two numbers. I'll just take a sum example for this. No? If not sum, anything of your choice. Sum or add sum a equal to 10, comma b equal to colon return a plus b. It's a very short program. We can also write a logic like this, sir. We can directly return a result like this. That's also possible. Okay. You should see something strange here. These are parameters. I'm directly initializing parameters with some values. Can you see, sir? Understand? You can see what is that? You can see the parameters are initialized with some default values. Okay. Now you see now. I'm calling add of 10 comma 20. I have some like otherwise 10 comma 3, 2 comma. Now, do you get 5 or do you get 30? What is the output I get here? 5 or 30, sir. What is the output? Let's have active interaction here. Come on. Okay, 30. But actually the output is 5. It's not 30 here. You don't get any output. That's the answer. You have to print this color, right? It will return value. You have to assign to some variable. Just print it. Or you can directly print color also. That is also possible. Print of X. Got 5, sir? Naveen, it's not 30, it's 5 because default values are used in the absence of actual values. You are passing values like this 2 comma 3. This actual values will replace this default. A and B are replaced. Now earlier we have 10 and 20. And when I pass some new values to this color, this new values will overwrite existing values. Overwrite. O-V-E-R-W-R-I-D. Overwrite. What it is? It will overwrite existing values. So that is the point. Suppose I didn't pass, I just only pass one value, sir. Then tell me what is the output now? I'm passing only one. What is the output? Is it 12 or is it 22 or is it compilation error? What is it now? Come on, guys. What is it? I'm passing just 2, sir. I'm not passing 5 now. 3. What output you get? Do you get 12? Do you get 22? Or do you get compilation error? 3 answers are there. By default, this is treated as which parameter? First parameter or second parameter, sir? It by default 2 passes to A, and as I am not passing second parameter, it will take 20. It will take default parameter. Let's test it. 22, perfect. Okay. I'm not passing both values, sir. I'm not passing both. Now, what is the output? Tell me. Compilation error or 30. What is the output? Tell me, sir. Come on. Is it 30 or do you get compilation error? 30. Okay. Let me run this. You got 30. See? Means what default parameters are doing? What default parameters are doing? In the absence of actual parameters or actual values, default parameters are used. But when defaults are used only if you don't pass parameters through caller. And if you are passing parameters through caller, which are actual values, these are called actual values. If you pass through this caller like this 1, 2, we call them as actual. These are actually the formal parameters and dummy parameters. Variables with function are dummy or formal, sir. These are variables with caller are actual. In the absence of actual parameters, then default values are used by the function. And if you pass actual, it won't use any default because they get overwritten. They don't exist in memory, sir. If you pass these values, many people don't understand that. Got it, right? Understand? Okay. Next one. Variable length argument. This is also interesting example, sir. What is variable length? This is like a, what do we call this? This is like a kind of tuple, we can say. It accepts any number of values, sir. It accepts any number. But if a variable should accept more than one value, multiple values, we can do one thing in Python, that is actually, you can declare a var args like this by applying asterisk before that variable. Means it's like an array, sir. Internally, it's like an array. We'll check with an example, sir. We'll check with an example. Okay. It acts as like an array. Following. So a variable var args is something which accepts more than one value from a caller. We can pass multiple values like this to one variable, and then that is what var arg is. If you are from Java or if you are from C Sharp, there is a topic called var args. Internally, it acts as an array. Okay. A similar concept is there in Python. Python came before Java and C Sharp, all this stuff, sir. Many people don't know. This came in 1989. Java came in 1995. C Sharp probably it came in the 2000s, I hope. So, if you talk about the age also, Python is much more older than all these languages. This is younger than C and elder than Java, all that stuff. Okay, this is there from there in itself. Point is simple. This is what variable length is. Shall we test it? Let's test it. It seems like it is a curious example. I am very much fascinated to test it once. Okay, let me see. It's in functional, and this is where it's actually. I think I forget to modify in the example. This is variable length parameters. Okay, now you take a small example, d of some one, asterisk, put asterisk that says this is a variable argument. Okay, args. Okay. Then, sir, I want to know the type of this parameter. I'm very much curious. What is the data type of this var args? Yeah, this variable length parameter. And it is not necessary to keep args. You can keep any variable name. Don't think if I am keeping args, that doesn't mean that you should use args. You can choose anything of your choice. Okay. So print of args. Okay. What I'm doing in the first print, I'm getting type of the args. In the second print, I'm printing the values of the args. Okay. Next, let's call it something like F1 now. If you don't pass anything, what happens? Let us test it. F1 of 1. You can pass from 0 to n number of values. F1 of 1, F1 of okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can pass different type of data also. If you want, you can pass a string data, you can pass a double data, you can pass any type of data set. It's not like you should pass only integers. Okay. Now let me run this. I just want to see the output. I'm a little bit curious on this. Okay, let me try this. I told you already. Internally, it is a tuple. Maybe if you remember, before this discussion, we came to know that it's a tuple. Tuple is also kind of array set, like which we cannot modify it. Right? But still, it can hold all these values. You can see there. The type is showing as tuple here. Okay? Immutable. Tuple is immutable. That is point I would like to tell. But anyhow, all that stuff. I don't want to deviate the discussion here. I have a small question to all of you. When I have a tuple, how do I process this value? Suppose I want to find sum of all these values. You do a small example. Write a program. You take a small array. This is variable length arguments. What is variable length arguments? Simple, right? What is that, gentlemen? It's an argument which might take arguments from values from 0 to n values. Actually, in a real case, we don't pass 0 values. If you are making it as variable length, definitely we pass some values. It doesn't make sense if you don't pass anything. You got it, right? You bought a car from a showroom and you kept it at your home. The purpose is for driving. If you don't pass, drive at all, then there is no point of having it. Same thing here. When we have a hierarchy parameter, definitely we pass multiple values, not even single values. These are meant for accepting more than one value. So that's how this is excellent. Now you write a small piece of code, no? Test it on this curious example. You try this example, write a program to find sum of all numbers. Write a program to find the sum of values of var length parameter. Try this. Excuse me, guys. Do you try it yourself? Then I'll also show you how to try this. Okay, I just want to find sum of two numbers. Okay, now you see this. You declare a sum variable, something like sum equal to 0. Okay, for I in args, logic, right? Args colon logic is sum equal to sum plus I. That's it. Okay, let's just copy, save this. There might be a small flaw in this logic. I'll fix that. Nothing to worry about it. Okay, go to the run. Just say run module. Now you go to run. Then say run module. I didn't print the sum, sir. That is also there. Print of sum. Save it. Now run it. The first one is if it is empty, it is taking 0 because I have initialized 0 to sum, right? And for second one, it is 1. For third one, it is 3. For fourth one, it is 6. For fifth one, it is 10. And sixth one, it is 50. It's perfect, right? The flaw is you are trying to do the sum of numbers even when there is no element in the tuple. You see there? How do you fix such issues? How do you do the validation if data is present or not? How do you check it, sir? How you are going to check that? Yes or no? We have to validate data or not if it is empty or not. So it's a simple thing, sir. You can validate it like this. Whenever you are doing such logic, if length of args, okay, length returns length of that tuple, right? You know very well. You remember, right? Functions is not equal to 0. If it is not 0, then what you have to do? Then you have to ask to do the sum. This makes some sense, right? Let us just run this code. You can see this, sir. Okay, it is not printing result if it is empty. Can you see it now? Or if you want to skip for this also, for one value, what is the point of finding sum of two numbers? Sum of n numbers. So you can do like this otherwise. If it is if length of arguments greater than 1, you can keep it like this. At least if there are 2, then if you are doing sum, it makes some sense, right? So you can validate. See, you have to do the validations also, sir. You should learn this. It is very important. Okay? So go to run, then run module. Can you see this now? This time we are getting sum from how many numbers, sir? Sum for exactly for more than one number, means from 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. Okay. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. Got it, right? But the point is, I'm getting iterative sum. I have to keep this print outside the for loop, not inside for loop. You want to get something perfect output. Now you have fixed everything. This is a perfect output. You can see it. Got it, right? So this is how you can fix the gaps and make sure that your code is robust, the best code. Of course, I'm not saying I'm not saying that I'm writing the best code, but still the tuning. There is one where somewhere I have seen okay the requirement for performance tuning in coding. Okay, so if you think in that way, like how to create and how to come up with the best possible code. Somewhere in future, if you become an architect or something else, definitely you can do some wonders in the project. Okay, that's the point. You think in that way, that's enough. Automatically, when you keep thinking without our knowledge, automatically you get that approach of handling things. We don't need to again do some separate homework for that. So this is about this. Next one. Next one. We have finished parameters, sir. Now, what did we finish today? We have finished types of parameters. So at positional, keyed, then this one variable length parameters, default parameters. We have discussed all this today. Okay, got some idea, right? Also, we have seen returning value from a function. We have seen this returning multiple values from a function. We have already discussed that. Okay. Then this is a simple topic. We'll discuss this today and we'll close it off. Topic will be closed up. Okay. And with that, whatever that is necessary for functions, you have some idea on that. But still, what is the pointer? We are also sometimes in some interviews, people might ask question: function versus method. I think method or function, it's same sir. If you declare a function inside classes or inside some interfaces, or these are called what abstract classes. Then they are called as methods usually. Functions in sense which we directly declare outside a class, not inside a class. But anyhow, it's just only a what do you call just a slight difference. That's all. Okay. Right. Next, we'll talk on this when we go to the advanced Python. Core Python itself, we have so many things. Still, after functions, I need to switch to the files again. After files again, then I will switch to advanced Python. See, that's so many things. And there is a lot of programming. Still here itself, if you can master core programming, core Python. See, core or advanced, there is nothing, so many divisions. These people for commercial purpose, they have divided like that. Okay. But point is, if you everything what you tried in core Python is more than useful stuff to create very good programs. Even in advanced Python, you go to OOP, all that code goes inside class is nothing but what we have learned in core Python. There is nothing new. So if you get a solid foundation in core Python, definitely you can do extremely well in advanced Python. That is the point. Now, types of variables in functions in Python. Actually, we have two types: local variables and global variables. Let us quickly finish this local and global concept. Okay. If you declare variables inside, okay, you declare variables inside a function, then such variables we call it as global variables. Okay, 1 minute, gentlemen. Okay, just a minute. Murli. Okay, sorry, folks. So the first example, let's test it. Test it, sir. All of you test it. It's interesting only. It's not difficult again. Try this example. This is a global variable, sir. You declare directly straight away outside the functions. Then this is access. This can be accessed by all functions here. Sir, are you following? Global variable can be accessed by all the functions. Now you print this program. Print F1 and F2 and see what is the output for us in both cases. Tell me. What is the output? Local in sense values declared inside a function are values which are declared even parameters. They are local variables. Global means values which are declared outside function can be shared by all the functions. Like a teacher in a classroom, that is a global variable because one teacher, he teaches all the students. Everybody can have access to that teacher. That is global. Local in sense something which is specific to you, home tutor, who comes to your home and teaches you. He is local because he can teach only for you. You don't teach us for everybody. That is what the local. And you can only access him. Nobody else can access him. Okay. Now what is the output here for this two? If I run this code, these functions are very basic. There is nothing. There is no juice in this code actually. To be frank. Okay. Local variables versus global. So let me see. See, sir. Now, shall I run this? Nothing, sir. This is global. They are shared by all the functions. Even if you print in F1, you get 10. Print in F2, you get 10. You get to 10 for 2 times. Nothing. Now I do one thing. I took a local variable. See, where did I declare this A, sir? Inside a function, right? F1. Now I have A as a global, A as a local. Now you tell me what is the output. Tell me now. What's the output, sir? Anybody? Just type in the chat box. Is it 10 10 again, or is it 20 10 again, or is it 20 20 again? Okay. What's your answer? All of you. Come on, sir. Give me some answers. I am in bad need of answers. Come on, sir, please. Okay. Okay, let me just try this. Output is this is local, sir. Sir, if you have a global and local, which is having high priority here, local or global? Which one has high priority, sir? Local, sir. In a state, suppose PM is there, CM is there. Who is having high priority, PM or CM? For a state, obviously CM has high priority, not PM, sir. For a country, PM has high priority. So local has high priority, then global. So inside this function, this value gets modified. Let's try this now. Let's try this. Is it 2020? Okay. Can you see this now? 2010. Most of you have given this. Why it's not 2020, sir? Why it's not 2020? Any reason? Because we are modifying A here, right? Yes, sir. Are we modifying A or not? A here or not, sir? Because it's very simple. Many people don't know this. Let me tell you. When you come to a local variables, when you try to do some operation from local variables, the change happens only in that scope itself. Once the execution of this function is over, what happens? This whole function is deleted from the stack. This gets executed in something called stack. So the change, whatever happens, it happens only to this function, not for the whole application. Understood? Understand? Right? That's why you get 20 and 10. The change what happens here is just local change. It's not global change. It doesn't impact your global variable because here we are altogether declaring a separate variable, a new variable here. This is treated as a new variable, sir. It's not overriding this. Don't think you are overriding global. No, you are not overriding global. The new variable is created for this local. That is initially. That way, the change happens only to that function. It doesn't impact this global. You understand the explanation, sir? I think I am not confusing you, right? Is it clear or am I confusing you? Tell me that point, sir. Folks. Okay, right. So next example, let us switch to the next one. What is the output of this one, sir? We have tested it, right? Let's take this example. This should be a good example. What is the output of this, sir? This one. Tell me the output of this. We should get a very good judgment. Obviously, right? This is local. This is local. This value is specific to that function only, sir. And F2 cannot see that value. Let me tell you about this point about functions. When a variable is local, local variables are visible only within that function, sir. It is not visible to other functions. Local variable of one function is not directly accessible by other functions, sir. We can do parameter passing, that is possible. But if you try to access local variable of one function in another function directly, it won't work, sir. Maybe you can ask me, how can we trust you? Just run this code and see. You don't need to trust me, sir. Got it right? What happened? In the second, while trying to run the second function call F2, it's saying A is not defined. Mr. Manohar, where is this A? That is what it is asking. Because I might assume that okay, already I have defined A in F1, F2 might get that, but it is local. When it is local inside function, declaring it and initializing inside function, it becomes local to that function. I clearly told the point. Remember all these things, sir. You have to connect all these dots that give you better understanding of your programming. Okay. Now, another example. You got name error here. Okay. Another example, sir. Sir, I think you're following, right? I am not. It's not boring, right? Is it boring? Then we'll stop the session. Now this example, let us try this, sir. Let's try. Something new has been introduced here, sir. Let's understand that new point here about this function. You see, we can also make local variable as global by declaring this global keyword, sir. Can you see this now? You are seeing some new keyword here, global. I have defined this inside function, sir. Then I have initialized it. Can you see it now? And then I am printing. Now you tell me what is the output? Is it again same name error? Do we get 20 for 2 times or anything else might happen? You tell me, sir, this time. Come on. What is the output? Output, sir. Please. You just type in the chat box. Out of 14, I'm seeing only some couple of 3 or 4 people responding to me. Okay. Following, sir. Yeah, let me try this. If you make it as a global one, then it becomes a global variable, and global variable shared by all the functions. Let me try this. This time, don't expect error. You are correct, sir. Perfect. Next one. You made this variable as global by using global inside a function. This is also possible, sir. Okay. You can declare global directly outside a function, or you can declare a global inside a function by using the keyword. That keyword is global. Understood? Next one. There are interesting use cases, sir. If you understand, it's good for you somewhere. Okay. Tomorrow, if you are in the panel, you can ask your the interview guys. There are good things to ask in interviews also. Okay, next one. If you ask this kind of questions, like those who just were very at basic level without having deeper analysis, they can't answer, sir. Next one. You tell me now. This is a something different use case. What is the output here, sir? Please tell me. Tell me the output, sir. What do you get? You get 20, 30, 30, 20, 30, 20, 20, 20, 30. Sir, 20. Some answer will come. What is that? What do you get, sir? Is it 20, 30, 30? 20, 30, 20? 20, 30, something else? Or all 20s? What's your answer? Answer will be 20, 30, and 30 or 20? 30 or it will be 30 only, sir. Let us see. Can you see this now? 20, 30. It's a global, sir. When you modify a global, then it will be that will affect the whole application. If it is local, the change is only for that function, sir. If it is global, it's for the whole program. Got it right? It's a good discussion, sir. This is a very good one. We have discussed very good scenarios. But this function is a very big topic in Python, sir. Functions, But still now, I will take it to this point, to this thing. Then we'll talk about again few more things. There are few more anonymous and lambda functions, all this stuff. Filter. So much is there in functions that we see in tomorrow's session. Okay. Now you try this one more example. We know this. Next one. This example, see, sir. Last example in this kind of use cases. Then we'll stop this session. Tomorrow, what we do? We will discuss recursive functions and remaining all other important stuff. Then switch to files topic. What topic? See, sir. What is this? Globals. After that, you put something here. What is this, sir? Suppose your global variable and local variables are same, and you want to access global variable inside this function, because when I print a, by default it prints local value, but I want to print global value also. How to access a global value within a function when the name of global variable and local variables are same? Obviously, priority is given to which one, sir? Priority is given to the local variable. If you print A, it will print local value. But I want the global value also to be printed in the same function. Then you can apply this function, sir, global function. You see this now? Are you following, sir? Understand? Okay. So that is the point, sir. And rest of the code is simple. There is nothing too much complexity in that. So you just save your program and just run it. Got it right? First time you print local and then again global 10 is printed and then same global 10 is printed. That's it. That's how it goes, sir. Okay. So that's idea. This is more than enough to understand functions. Whatever we have discussed so far, default parameters and programs we have done on functions. But still this continues. This coding process continues. Today, as we need to get more of conceptual discussion, I couldn't make you to work more programs, but still again, the coming sessions definitely what is that? We will do more programs because the priority is more for practical implementation and less for conceptual discussion. But when it is necessary, we have to, sir. We cannot skip them. Excuse me. Any questions, sir? Any questions? Okay, sir, I'm stopping this session here. Tomorrow we continue with remaining recursive functions and the very important things about like filter, reduce, all these functions. Okay, that's what. Any questions? Nobody is telling me yes, no. Okay. So if anybody has interest in big data, please ping me. I'll talk on that. Okay. Thank you, guys. Goodbye.